Hello, welcome to another mini episode of Bethany Talks About Stuff. I'm your host, Bethany F. DeVores, author of the Sea of Drastic Chronicles, available from Amazon. And today is another installment in my Monday Musings series. And today I'm going to tell the possum story. A little background. I was raised mainly in South Carolina, lived mostly in the suburbs, but I did spend some time out in the country because I had some family members that lived out in the country. But I would say I'm mostly cityfied, but I like to think I'm kind of a country girl. I also shared a house with a friend for 12 years. Think Golden Girls, you know. She was from the Southwest, and she really had been a little more cityfied than I was. And I tell you that because you have to understand the two nuts that dealt with this possum. Okay. So now you know. Two basically cityfied girls. So the last house that we lived in together, I live by myself now, but she had bought this house. I rented from her, and it was in a suburb that was kind of out in the woods a little bit. Like it was a newer suburb. It was a new build. So we were right by the forest, by the woods. And so we would see rabbits and deer sometimes. And that was fine. It was cool, you know, seeing them. It was like, oh, nature, you know, because we didn't have to do anything with it. So at that time, also, this stray cat started following us around when we walked our dogs. And my roommate had a real soft spot. And so she started to put food on the patio for the stray cat. Despite my protests of that cat will think it lives here. You will have to be responsible for it. Whatever. We started feeding the stray cat. Well, it's South Carolina. We put the food on the ground on the front porch and ants. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay. So we came up with the bright idea to put a plastic TV tray out on the front porch, and we would put the food in a bowl on the TV tray. And the cat would wait till we went in the house and closed the door because it was very skittish. And then it would jump up there and eat. Okay. Before you all leave your nasty comments about the bad evils of feeding a stray cat, we already know. Okay. We know. Just let it go. So one night I came home from work. I put some food in the bowl and then I went into the house and I didn't think much about it until later I started to hear the cat hissing and spitting and obviously fighting. And I'm like, oh no, we've got a second cat, you know. And I was like, well, I can't let those cats be out there fighting because I'm not smart. So I actually got a broom and I went to the front door and I flung the door open and I looked down and looking back at me, it was a big old possum. Now, if you've never seen a possum in real life, they can be pretty big. And possums are one of those animals that are so ugly, they're cute. But not when you're face to face with them and they're not happy with you. And I went, ha! And the possum went, ha! And I closed the door. I was like, oh no, I don't like this. But I'm like, okay, well, I don't care. It's my house. The possum's got to go. But I don't want to hurt it. So I'm just still going to go out there and kind of just shoo it off, right? So I open the door again with the broom. I'm like, go on, get. By this time, it had jumped down onto the ground. My dog, my older dog that y'all have seen in other videos, Ginger, the sloth, was like, it's a possum! And she took off running out the door.
Come on, the jack.
And chased the possum into the woods. And I thought, I'll never see Ginger again. She's just gone. But I said, Ginger, get back here. And she came back. Oh, okay. I did my duty, Mom. The possum's gone. And I was like, you did. Good girl. Go in the house. The possum was gone. So I thought, okay, well, certainly that's the end of the possum, like seeing the possum at our house, because I'd be scared of the dog. How about a couple of days later, I get a call from my housemate who said, hey, just want to let you know it's me in the driveway, but I can't come in yet. And I said, why not? And she said, the possum is on the TV tray and I'm afraid to go walk by it. And I'm like, I don't blame you. I said, but no, you can't just sit out there while we don't know how long it's going to sit there. It may finish eating and just sit there like this is my place. And I'm like, this is our house. The possum's going.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
So I go get that broom again. And I'm like, okay, but this time I wouldn't let Ginger out because I was afraid, she would really take off in the woods or the possum would bite her or whatever. So I'm like, okay, Ginger, you gotta stay in here. So I went out. Sure enough, possum's on the TV tray eating the food, cutting its eyes at me. Like, what do you think you're gonna do? And I'm like, I'm gonna make you leave. So I take the broom and I start basically with the bristles, of course, whacking the possum, like, get off of there. And it starts swinging back. Like, my stories about the adventures of wildlife, flora and fauna in South Carolina. I'm not making this crap up. The vegetation and the animal kingdom here is not quite as hostile as Florida necessarily, but they're pretty strong-willed. We'll put it that way. So the possum is like at the broom, like, no, stop it. So I'm hitting it with the broom. It's hitting the broom and cutting its eyes at me, like hissing. Y'all, possums are mean, okay? Or they can be mean. I shouldn't say that. Please don't go out and do anything bad to possums. They're just wild animals. They don't know any better. But still, I was like, get off my porch. Whack, whack, whack. And it's like, I will not leave. And so then I finally decided, well, I'm just going to knock the TV tray off or over, and the toppling over will make it run away. You know how possums have that long curly tail that you see in animated stuff where they're hanging off of trees by their tail and all that? That's a real thing. And the possum wrapped its little tail around the legs of the TV tray and hung on for dear life. It took a while to scare the possum enough to get it off of my porch. And I'm going to tell you, in retrospect, maybe y'all shouldn't do that. Like, if you have a possum on your porch, maybe don't fight it with the broom, because they can be, I hate to say it, but they can kind of be mean. They have claws. They will bite. I just recommend some different methods, okay?
May the odds be ever in your favor.
But it worked, and the possum did not ever actually come back after that. But that's my possum story. Me and the possum duking it out on the front porch with the broom. So, yay. Have a great Monday and a wonderful week.